I'm going to move my trash.
Where's your trash? Oh, yeah, it's a centerpiece, isn't it? I don't know, do we like it? Do we like having trash as our centerpiece?
It's up to you. It's your podcast.
I do like trash. What have we got there? We've got some muesli wrapper, some tissue, an old sponge, half a berry container. I think we're going to have to keep it at this point.
Yeah, we don't want to like... Yeah, this is like this is the reference part, so it's like people will think you've photoshopped.
Yeah.
If you take the...
Yeah, they won't trust me if I remove it.
You'll be Illuminati.
It's a little colour as well. Like the backdrop is generally without colour.
True, and then you could have the little... It's like a... It's actually like a book. Yeah, it's like a sort of a bonfire, or a sort of a really dystopian bouquet.
Yeah.
Think about it, like
yeah, it's exactly
sort of
like that.
The end of the world is coming.
People are gonna be arranging,
and also the start of the world. The poet Shelley once said that life was like a many-coloured. It was a many-coloured glass dome that was constantly shattering and constantly coming back together.
I like that.
Many-coloured dome of glass.
Thank you, Shell.
Thank you for watching.
We'll take our bow now.
Yeah, you should do a bow at the end of each podcast.
But only me.
Yeah,
So whoever I've interviewed is like
absolutely
clearly, yeah.
The female that we saw earlier did some interesting things with her eyes at some points.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you saw that.
I wasn't looking closely. What sort of things?
Really, sort of, I think she was describing her going down Lonsdale Street, and her eyes got really big and wide, and she was kind of doing like that a little. Yeah, I was quite. I wanted to ask if she had seen Jeepers Creepers. People do that a lot in that movie. Dude, I watched all three, 2.5 of them, and they're good. They're proper horror films with this monster that comes alive every 23 years for 23 days to eat. And it's set in like the cornfields of like Illinois kind of thing. And it can't be killed. And it just eats and eats and eats to like reanimate itself.
As you do, like a very hungry caterpillar? Caterpillar.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, it was very scary.
Wow.
But very American and quite nice. I seem to be able to watch those films without sort of not sleeping a bit.
Yeah.
I've been trying to watch more and more horror. Like I'm really trying to. Yeah, it's like an active thing. That's kind of why I've been watching so much stuff. Because it's like
beast.
It's sort of supposed to be horror.
Yeah, I see. Something to make you brave some shit. Yeah.
Voluntarily. I think you need to do some more. My mother makes M&M. Loves M&M. My mum does love
meaty mummies. Spoon my bummy. Strachan sweet field.
Man. 45 degrees in here. No, it's not.
Warm.
This is a hell of an audience. Have we started yet?
I
think we've started now.
Is this all in it? You can choose later. I'll send it.
I feel great.
Can I clap just for...
Sure. You should get one of those... I'll be silent. Real. You should get one of those... scene.
I'm not done.
Scene.
Yes.
Scene.
They really use those.
They do.
Home and Away and they're clicking away with them.
It's so weird that you're at Home and Away.
As an extra. Let's be clear. They have a lot of
Everybody watching, go and watch the episode of Home and Away that Boroky is in.
There are several, I think, but I cannot tell you which ones.
And if you do, Boroky will give you his house keys.
I'll give you the deeds to my
Toby,
house, which I don't own.
Boroky is
They're already
Boroky is now going to flash up his personal mobile number at the bottom of the screen.
I think that would be not an issue for at least like a few years.
Yeah, but once it did become an issue, that became a really big issue. There was a joke that Deadmau5 printed these T-shirts with Skrillex's actual mobile number on them, and he wore it to the Grammys. And so for the whole and I think it was the year Skrillex won a Grammy. For the whole night, he was getting he got like 50,000 calls that night or something like that.
Time for a new sim.
Yes, time to play The Sims again.
It's always that time.
Thank you so much for having me on this blossoming podcast.
You're welcome. Everyone on this podcast.
It is a hell of a time. That's it. It's
and
thank you so much for watching. This is a new 7.5 minute edition of Boroky podcasts where
we never introduce the person who is.
Yes, we extinguish the guests.
We extinguish the guests. Yes,
that is. God.
This is Sonic Alchemy or Clancy Baxter. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm going to wave the whole podcast.
That's going to be
I have
so
my
dark.
very it will be very good for my arms though. I have my very elderly cat Pixie, who I call Peanut sometimes.
Welcome,
or
Peanut.
Pixoid sometimes.
Pixoid.
She's just grooming herself next to me, and we're just kidding. I don't have a cat. I'm just gesturing to the start of the void, which is my cat's actual name. That would be so cruel.
That's a good circle.
Neat Mr. Void, my cat. But she's very old.
If she was black, it would make sense.
Too soon. I'm going to have to edit that bit out.
I'm not editing any of this. This does not get cut.
All right. Toby is going off script. There's no.
We wrote all of that out before that. Before I said
we wrote
cut.
that whole bit out with the cat and the void. That whole thing we know off by heart.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
We've got great memories. We actually memorized an hour's worth of
that's
material.
Right. And I'm drinking out of my my critically acclaimed Tilapia 30-year Australian school mug, but instead of 1983 to 2003, it says 1983 to 2913 to 2. So it's 1,000 years off. But
that's great.
We appreciate you sponsoring this podcast, Tilapia. And if
well into the future,
Mrs. Blaine, thank you for your large endowment. And Toby is drinking out of my New York mug. I've hijacked the podcast. I'm now the host.
Got the whole skyline on there.
That's right.
Every single important building.
That's right. Pre 9/11.
Is it? Are they on there?
Do they have the Twin Towers?
I don't think so.
No, I think that would be.
I think it's post.
Very, very.
You were
upsetting.
there post.
That would be very upsetting.
That'd be I mean, yeah.
Maybe
we watched. Alice and I watched a movie called. What is it? It's a Christmas movie. It's Home Alone 2.
Die Hard?
And that still has
Home Alone, yeah.
They feature quite prominently.
Yeah. They're good movies. There was actually, I don't know why I know that whole thing was set in a school gym. The actual shooting was, they built a house in a gymnasium of a school.
Oh, goodness.
So if you watch some of the scenes, the walls are made out of like cheap cardboard.
Nice.
You can watch like the doors going like that.
Yeah.
So, quite nice.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the Home Alone podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Home Alone podcast. We're sponsored by Warner Brothers.
That's right. We're sponsored by
I don't know who made it.
Harvey Weinstein. We're not sponsored by Harvey Weinstein.
It would be a loose podcast.
We're sponsored by Kevin Spacey.
Why would they sponsor this?
I don't know. Why would an individual sponsor? That would be so weird if, like, you read out individual names.
Yeah.
You were sponsored by, but that would be
you
good.
Get close with like Patreon lists and stuff.
Actually, yeah, and some Instagram like content creators do read out the names and they'll say like as an ASMR thing or
I'd do that I'd sponsor someone just to get my name read out. Just to say, this is sponsored by Toby Graham. Because then I'd feel just very wealthy and powerful. Feel like the cloth I was wearing had more folds.
Comment your name below in the video and we'll retape this and say your name in it.
It'll be identical.
We'll edit it over. So now we're gonna go in and do a voiceover now. The voiceover will come in soon and we'll read your name out. I think we'd actually have to...
Clancy's phone number is...
We'd have to redefine the laws of time to be able to do that properly.
And why shouldn't we?
Yeah.
We're a clever couple of strapping handler hats.
And it's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
We're filming this a couple of days before Christmas.
We just went to a shopping mall.
Bought some presents and figured out how to line up during Christmas peak hours.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
interesting.
Yeah. And somewhat distressing.
Lots of people. Nice.
Is this an opportune moment for me to ask
a
little about
please about
you?
I'm just going to take a sip from my pure vodka.
Clancy is a reforming alcoholic, as in he's trying to become an alcoholic again. It's really hard.
Just to be clear, this mug is completely empty. It is a prop. If we take a sip out of the mugs, know that there is air in them. Feel free to ask whatever you'd like, and we can have a very casual and relaxed conversation.
I'm leaning back on my chair. Usually I sit forward, but I noticed that it looks... I mean, I'm a slightly awkward-looking fellow anyway in a lot of the ways I present my body, but it looks particularly awkward when the other person isn't doing it, I think.
Right.
So I'm joining you, and it's comfy.
It becomes a seesaw, because then, like, if you went back, I would then go forward.
Exactly, yeah.
And then, that's just Sri Lankan law.
Yeah,
as they say.
And that's where we are. So.
Any viewers from Sri Lanka, my home address is... No.
I mean,
thank you for watching if you're from Sri Lanka, though. That is so nice.
That would be amazing.
That would be
I hope so.
Fantastic. We love your culture, and I'd love to visit Colombo, I think the capital. I'd love to visit Sri Lanka. It's a pretty place. Anyway.
I'd love to travel.
Yes, I love Mondays. I love weekends, and get this girl some wine.
Yes.
That's what I
This
pixie is a girl. Little pigs. Anyway, nice.
Very nice. So Sonic Alchemy or Clancy Baxter. What? Yeah. Tell me a little about yourself. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You can do what you want.
I will
I
freestyle.
want to know something other than your home address, which
we will put at the bottom of the link in this.
That's right. Your Sri Lankan home address.
That's right. Don't click it. It'll actually be malware. No.
But it will be there.
It will be there though. So it's a moral. It's like the cart experiment sort of thing, but with malware. Sonic Alchemy. So, I thought you'd never ask. No, Sonic Alchemy is the sort of experimental, format that I've created a few years ago, back in 2016, I guess, where I took my love of electronic music and sort of experimental atmospheric sound design that I was doing before that, and kind of connected it with my early sort of childhood love of set and of experimental play. What's that?
I just touched my nose.
Okay, I thought you were like doing like one of those like sort of.
I guess it was kind of like that.
It was.
You said scent, and so I thought I'd go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's very good.
It wasn't clever or subtle. Touched the organ involved.
That's very nice. Whenever you mention music, I'm going to go like this from now on.
Yeah.
What, you're hungry?
I need that. Thank you.
And I guess it just started off by me trying to see sort of how far you could take something as everyday as scent, and how could an artist that has no background in I know no chemistry, I'm very bad at math. I think a lot of those sorts of skills are very secondary in perfume, in the kind of perfume I'm working within at least. And I wanted to see if how far you could take away from the constraints of a cosmetic sort of product that's for that's based around that's based around vanity and very very sort of vapid artistic morals, I guess. It's not saying a whole lot.
Aiming to make a sellable consumer product.
Yeah, and to be consumed and discarded, I guess, is a lot of the modern perfume kind of ethos. And I was really not interested in that, and it ended up becoming something where it sort of took over my creative existence by meaning that I was no longer really a musician, I was a scent artist or a perfumer, sort of both of those titles equally. And that was a difficult process. Anyone who's watching or who people know who's transitioned in between art forms that seem distinctly different and separate, it's quite a kind of a chaotic transition. And you redefine yourself a bit as an artist. I think partly because before I started doing the scent stuff and incorporating it with the music, I was always looking for something and felt like I was constantly, desperately searching for a kind of to fill that hole that we all feel at 3 a.m. And the scent stuff seemed to do it in such a way where I was like, I'm done. I'm full now. Wow. And to maybe set a bit more of the context, Sonic Alchemy was never really a brand at the start. It was a performance idea where I was taking my love of performing electronic music live to a sort of new realm of sort of curating the live performances in a way where I was creating sort of synesthesia and color-inspired fragrances for different parts of the performance. Some were based around the color, different colors. The color green had one devoted to the color purple, with different sound and scent sort of unisons in different parts of the performances. It started like that, but then ended up breaking into sort of this avant-garde perfume brand that I now spend most of my time running.
I remember at some of the early performances you started selling, like what you'd been playing with.
So people could take part of the performance kind of home, because scent is something that's obviously so ephemeral that it was important that I could kind of bottle the show, I guess. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. I did 10 or 11 of those sort of in between 2016 and last year, last year before the COVID stuff. That ended up moving away from that, but keeping it going with bringing in other things with dance and bringing in these contemporary dances and kind of and obviously thank you very much for helping doing the scent stuff for that with Alice.
I used to wander around, and I think the first time I did it, I was spraying scent around
back in 2016 that was my first proper one, sort of the headlining one where I was just having people spray the scent around, and I had all these fans. Before that I tried some dry ice, and dry ice evaporates very quickly, so I was pouring the scent onto the dry ice and then trying to transition in between songs whilst I was going, moved into this sort of brand where I was doing these markets every week and sort of pushing these ideas of scent as a creative thing equivalent to other more well-established art forms like photography or sculpture or music in particular. Ended up moving away from music specifically, but keeping the name Sonic Alchemy, and ended up moving into obviously things like the Rothko series, where I was taking different paintings from different artists, in particular 3 paintings from Mark Rothko, and creating my sort of color scent interpretations of those, and then bottling them and seeing how they work together as a series, and sort of just branched off from there, and sort of I keep trying to break down those limits that I set initially, and kind of play around with how far I can go, but more and more, to give a very lengthy introduction to what I do, the more and more I do, the less I am focused on the inherent importance of pushing the aesthetic boundaries for the sake of pushing them. That's important, and that's great to do new things and to push yourself. But I think it's more important for me now to do work that feels emotionally and morally worthwhile. That is saying something about the time we're in. That is trying to help people feel like they're not trapped in this, 5'5" skin box, and nothing can penetrate that. I think I'm more interested in the inner workings of how people connect with each other, maybe, than I am about what hasn't sent done yet. That's really important. But I think if you just push that, and a lot of really forward-thinking artists, I think, do really just push that, you end up not really doing it to serve anything. It's not really part of a larger thing, other than the fact that you're pushing the art form that you happen to be in further. But further towards what, I guess, is something that I'm pretty concerned with now. So
Right.
that's my little introductory piece.
Nice.
Thanks.
Sonic Alchemy perfume. Get it while it's hot. Be some sort of a link, maybe lots of links.
Lots of links. I'll give you some links. Yeah, in a store
Etsy,
near you somewhere.
At least online.
At least online. Who knows? Hopefully sometime.
Coming to Nigeria.
Ask you.
soon.
That's coming to
For a certain
Mauritius by June next year.
Wow, that's tight.
That is tight.
Get that going.
With the postal delays, I need to ship today to get it better by next year. No, hopefully, go to your local fragrance counter and get very angry that they don't have Sonic Alchemy perfumes, and then they'll contact me. But
That's a great plan. I like it. Maybe this is your big break. Maybe that's how you do it.
that would be fantastic.
Wow.
That would be great. Yes.
It's money to be made.
Yes. Money in the bank. Yes.
For anyone only listening, we're nodding.
Very vigorously. I was thinking of falling back on my chair just then, like
That would have been great,
but
unless
I
you injured yourself.
really think that would be quite a lot.
Yeah.
Probably could have done it, but
You'd have to plan it. It looks like you might get a speaker through the head. At this
yeah,
point.
that would be bad for ratings as well.
Yeah.
I think.
The ratings. What are ratings? I've been trying to... Or rates. Sorry, this isn't relevant.
No, guys, comment below what you
Tell us
think without
what are rates?
googling.
I'm trying
What
to
are
figure
rates?
this out.
What are ratings?
Both of those
While
things.
we're at it,
We're really good friends. And
yes,
so
we're very close friends.
quite
Don't be too
comfortable.
close.
Yeah.
Comment below whether or not you think we're too
Too
close.
close.
I need to start asking people to comment below.
What? Yeah, I mean, if I get a single comment below, I'll be thrilled. I think I've had 2, or maybe 3 on
Yeah, no, I've saw. You've had at least like a handful. It's
Yeah,
really
maybe.
quite good. I'm going to
Yeah,
comment on.
killing it.
I'm going to leave 1,000 comments on all of them.
That'll take you a long time.
Yes, that's how I'm going to complete my COVID time. Is
Oh.
commenting.
I guess,
There's a lot of comments.
you got to kill time somehow. Kill it.
You gotta
there.
kill it. Kill it.
Kill it.
Kill it. Kill it. We'll link that song book in the link below
Yes.
as well.
I don't know.
Get the masters off. Scott, if you're watching, Toby's got the check.
Maybe, yeah,
Check for you.
I think we owe you a little bit of money. This is a reference to my high school band and the
That's fine.
generous man who recorded us. We were young, and I think
Idealistic.
we didn't pay him completely, or you if you're listening, Scott.
But if you are listening, this is Toby's home address.
this
Is Toby's home.
we're in Clancy's
This
house, my
is-
home address.
Yeah. No, we're like the viewers are encouraged to have dreamy, misty thought bubbles.
Wibble wobble, wibble wobble.
That's
wibble wobble.
right. We're gonna put a filter up, and it'll be all foggy and majestic.
Majestic. Going with very majestic.
Oh, what about
What
these
about
prices,
that?
Jack?
Yeah, these
Yeah, let's
toilet paper prices
let's
right
get these
now.
prices. No, we've got these
These prizes.
beautiful items to sell our callers.
Prize one is Clancy.
That's
in
right.
the flag.
You can. Oh, that is a
Tried to
unfortunate.
tie a $20
price.
note.
Yeah, but I
Like
bit your
tag around your neck.
I bit
You
your
bit me.
preaxial digits off.
Yes, all of them.
Thumbs.
Thumbs. Pre-axial.
Preaxial.
These are post-axial.
Post-axials. Preaxials.
There are a lot of these looks. We're not
Maybe that could be the
We're
thumbtail.
educated, but not about anything we're talking about.
Except for thumbs. I
Except
know a
for
lot
thumbs.
about thumbs.
Really?
But let's not dwell on that. Let's keep this moving.
Let's roll on to... Okay,
I think
alright.
they're getting nervous. No. Are we making you uncomfortable? I imagine there's like, let's just say 40,000 people will watch this. They're all sitting at their desk like
They're starting to fidget.
their necks are being swallowed by their shoulders.
They're twiddling their thumbs so fast that they're blurring.
Yeah, they're actually creating a pulsar with their thumbs. It's the end of the world because of this video.
Like a Nissan Pulsar? All these people have cars appearing between their hands. Which is impressive.
That
I didn't
is
know you
a
could make
strange image. All these people's like, oh my god! No, pulsar meaning like a dead sun.
Oh, I see.
I think
Right.
not
yeah.
a dead
Yeah.
like my condolences, son, but like a like a dead celestial.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not just having a dead man. appear,
No, not
but
like
it's
a
not. It's a son, but it's not their son.
different.
It's just a
different
man.
middle letter. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Wow. If anyone who is watching this in the future,
Tea on myself.
yes, Toby did. Would you like to show them?
Might be able to see in the
Maybe
high
zoom
def
in. Yeah, the
camera.
high
It's
def
still
version.
H-def.
We're going to publish
Most def.
4 different versions of this video, all with wildly different fidelity properties.
Yeah.
One of them will be 1 massive pixel.
One of them will be X-ray vision, so it will be nude and be kind of purple and blue.
That would be really quite futuristic. If anyone who's watching this hasn't watched the YouTube video that is, I think it's just titled the Sound of the Rings of Saturn, go and look that up. It's really good. You get to see the sort of the audio recording of the Rings of Saturn, which is a real thing, and it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I remember looking that up after watching the OA, which was...
And also watch the OA, but that is also a big time investment. So
It's very good. Oh,
Very good.
It's very good. Yeah,
Yes.
that's still one of the best series I've ever seen, I reckon. I
Mm.
just loved that so much.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really
If the people who, Brit, if you're watching
Molly.
this,
Hello.
the creator of the
Welcome.
OA, if you're watching this, please make the third season. Toby and I, the Boroky podcast will fund the third season.
Yeah. We'll use all of our savings.
Yeah, which will be coming from Centrelink. And so the Australian government will fund the third season of the OA. That would be great.
Yeah.
I would love that. Get a little. That would be fantastic.
See if we can sort this.
Do you have any other questions for me? I'm just going to keep talking about the OA.
Well, I with my previous interviews, I've been quite strict about questions.
You have.
And so I'm trying to go with the flow a bit, but it might be too flowy.
It's pretty flowy.
It's pretty...
Comment below how flowy you think this podcast has been so far.
One out of
1 to
duck.
That's right. 0 being like a tight cube, sort of like what do you like to do in your spare time, sort of thing, and it's like 2 minutes long, right? It's like an hour podcast, like to 90 seconds, and then 10 being like, a 45-hour sort of Kandinsky painting, like spaghetti monster of a thing. Comment below.
Very good. I guess maybe a good question, just in case you had any preconceptions about this podcast. Was there anything you really wanted to talk about that you?
That's a really good question.
There are interesting things you do in your spare time.
That's true.
There are a lot of things I think about, sort of art and business and scent and there are a lot of directions we could go to get
so many.
Squeeze you out.
Well,
and so I was wondering, if there's maybe something you're particularly interested in right now, or just interested in communicating.
It's so exciting.
Or like condensing.
Such an exciting prospect. Let's just consider how exciting that prospect is.
Consider the lobster.
Yes, let's ladies, bring out the lobsters. We have a
so
room
many
full
lobsters
of
so many.
We have a room full of Chanel models dressed in full-bodied lobster outfits. Come out, ladies. No, they don't.
You wouldn't believe how hard it is to keep them out of the
You
shop.
would not believe how expensive a venture that is. They are.
Pay people for their
the
time.
costumes are unbelievably expensive because they're like bio suits.
And they're also
you can go into space as them.
And into like nuclear waste. All sorts of things. Plus they're
World War
they're
III.
copyright.
World War III. If you're watching, really, like, and there really is more about me making that joke than about World War III watching. No. We'll edit that out.
We won't. This gets edited.
So I'm distracting myself on answering that question. God, that's such a great and open-ended question.
I mean,
I think
question is so open.
Yeah, it's
But
so
you can pick a
open.
lot of things. Like, for example, I often find the thing, like, maybe you've been thinking about a few like conceptual things. Maybe you could start with one of those.
Sure. Okay, I'll do the one that's sort of immediately on my mind, although it could be a dead end.
Let's
Let's
you got to start something.
open up this can.
Yes.
I think that, for example, Toby gave me a book. Toby gave me a book called "Even Cowgirls Get the Blues" by one of our favorite authors. Interesting. Tom Robbins. Interesting note. Almost all of my favorite authors and a considerable number of yours. You can put DFW David Foster Wallace in this because he's not from the north really.
I don't know what you're going to say next, so I can't agree or disagree.
They're all kind of from the south. Brene Brown, Mary Carr. Tom Robbins was born in the south. He was born in
the south of
Texas,
of the US.
of the US.
Yeah.
DFW is from Illinois. Is there another one that I'm missing?
Could be.
I think that's pretty much
Feeling
it.
blank.
They're all kind of south, which is cool.
Gonna get some northerners.
I think that's right. I think my I wish this tied. I think this ties into my work, but I'll see how I go. I think I have certain problems with art being seen as mostly entertainment, or literature being seen as a thing that is supremely about entertaining. I don't think art, and it doesn't really matter the art form, you can substitute them in because they all come from the same well. There are certain problems I think that come about when an artist becomes preoccupied with sort of kicking and dancing in front of the person experiencing their art in a way where it is purely entertaining. There are parts in that book, not to go after even Cargill's blues in this video, but there are certain parts in it where really, I think if I hadn't read some of the stuff I had before, I would go away from reading that thinking that, oh right, all literature is about entertainment.
Yes, yeah.
And I definitely
a
yeah, sure. Yeah,
that's part of his charm.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
he's a go-go dancer. Literally.
I still don't really know what that is.
They're like can you do the can one of those they're like early showgirls, I guess, doing sort of unison dances with particular kinds of fashion.
Okay. He's doing that, but all on his own. In that case.
What is it? Metaphors are the currency of knowledge. I think that's the quote. Where was I going with that? The thread. But I think
authors we like it from the south.
No, with the entertainment thing. I think it's important to it's really important to not make so broad, to not make the person experiencing the artwork, the perfume, feel like they're having to drudge, feeling like they're having to do kind of brutal work to get through it, to get it in them. You don't do it. Yeah, you don't want that. And I think that's a really tricky thing for people who are wanting to make things that are interesting and slightly offbeat. But at the same time, I think David Foster Wallace put it in a good way. You want to seduce the reader into making them want to do the work, making them come forward and leaning into the thing that you've made, even if it is difficult, even if it has a sense of hard, rough edges and that kind of thing, which I'm sure lots of stuff that you and I make have. Not all, but a lot of it. And so it feels important to maybe consider that. That's something I've been thinking a bit about lately, about sort of where is entertainment in art right now. It's, I say this a lot, but it's 2020, and what does it culturally mean in Australia, where we are, where we have, I think, an increasingly Americanized culture, which is not, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like all of the books I read are American. All the TV I watch is American. And so I think that, it brings into an interesting sort of interplay of like, what makes a work that you've made as an artist too cumbersome for people to enjoy. Because you don't want to isolate yourself. At least personally, I don't want to, I'm not that interested in making things that are going to be fantastically interesting to 15 people. And dirt to like another few hundred. And that's
a real hard thing to even think about, I think, because like at least personally as an artist, I find myself getting blocked almost as soon as I think about my audience. I basically have to make what I'm interested in and then market it later.
And that's that's a really important and critical thing for, I think, also particularly young artists to
and
really
maybe
get.
And maybe it's even getting stranger, or at least I think TikTok is like representative of like a new level of short attention spans or something. Like there's a lot of content available to anyone with internet and a phone that is super fast paced and super entertaining. But like maybe the plus side of something like TikTok is like, I think it's so intense it's turning quite a lot of people off, or making them realize that wow, I can be entertained for 10 hours and feel
Right.
Like nothing meaningful has really
It's stimulus.
happened.
It's just like
Yeah.
go to the the this is a bad analogy. Sorry, TikTok. It's like the rat pressing the lever to get some cocaine.
Very much.
It's really like it's
Yeah,
really like
yeah,
that.
and like probably there's great stuff on TikTok as well. Like it's
Oh
amazing
yeah, and
the
you can.
good stuff you can
There's a
do in
lot of
minute,
people
but-
doing like little mini 1-minute workshops and showing how to
That's
make
amazing.
things and that kind of thing. I think I'm on the same page with you when I say this. Is I am genuinely too old to really understand how like TikTok goes, which is I think it's something
Yeah,
that's
I
probably
totally-
more appropriate sort of in quotation marks there for the people who sort of just under us a little bit. I struggle to kind of get how things like TikTok have made a place for themselves in the megalithic the monolithic culture of Facebook and Instagram. How there's possibly more space.
They do it.
You know, but they definitely do it.
It's a different. I
think
should probably get it just to understand it because I actually haven't really been on TikTok, but I might never get off. And then what?
that's true.
But yeah, I've actually been thinking a lot about similar stuff because I've been reading The Hunger Games, and before that I read the prequel to them, which is fantastic, which came out later.
Yeah, it's after.
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. These books by I've forgotten her name, but I'll remember it. Susie Collins. I feel like I've just got it slightly wrong on both names. Anyway, I'll remember properly later. But these books are really interesting in that through the lens of like, is this entertaining? Because it is deeply entertaining, and it's written. The craft of the writing is great on what it counts. Like it's at sometimes really beautiful and visually rich, and most of the time just incredibly efficient. So they've really condensed, presumably with a good editor or editors, condensed down everything that happens in half-day actions into one sentence. Everything's been reduced until it's really gripping because it just moves so quickly. You can read a full day in a page kind of thing. Maybe it depends on the page and the moment. But it's both. I think it's deeply profound because just the subject matter is all about like morality and what it means to live a meaningful life, I suppose, because the whole concept is like the capital, this rich sort of overlording state of the other states in Panem, this country that is like the dystopian future version of the US. What was I saying? Oh, the capital has kind of deprived them of really living any kind of life. They're basically slaves serving this other party, and so it becomes worthwhile for these people to risk their lives for revolution, and that because the lives they're living are so barren, and it's really interesting, like exploring like what that means and the small joys they're able to get out of that, and all sorts of, anyway, it's very profound to me, and it's also real quick and really entertaining, really juicy. You can just tear through these books. Yeah,
that's great fiction for you. Like,
Well, that's what I think. But also, like, it's quite interesting in the culture of creative writers. Maybe I had a chat with a friend of mine who's a writer, who I should shout out to, Callum McCrow. Look out for his work. But his perspective on writing, I think, is reflective of a lot of people in the world of creative writing, which is that there are heavy books that are worth the work, and the easier books are often maybe not don't need to be treated with as much respect or something. And I think there's definitely something to that. There are some big weighty books that I really want to read because they're so significant, and once you've read them you can talk to lots of people about them because they're classics. Meaning to try and read Brothers Karamazov, These Holiday Days.
Yeah, it's a tricky
Try again.
Tricky one.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently the translations make it extra hard. There are
the names.
Lots of
the names
old
change.
Russian names. Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Tricky.
But yeah, it's just a balance that's been on my mind, because I love to make music that to me feels like blatant pop music. Like it is just like get to the hook, make me feel good a lot. But of course, I'm very, as a person and an artist, very concerned with ethics and
what you're serving,
and making art, like trying to channel something that's quite unique to me, rather than trying to make a product that will be enjoyed by everyone. And so I still end up making work it's not entirely pop music, that's for sure. There are parts of it that might not be palatable to lots of people. So I don't know where I'm going with that, only that I've been thinking hard about it, or wondering about it, because the Hunger Games to me feel like this wonderful this meeting of both very digestible, very very TikTok-esque entertaining,
I know what you mean.
but also really profound. And I wonder whether at the time that they came out, things like Dickens were like that, because I think he was fairly famous in his time. It was like a riveting read that was also profoundly transformative and stuff. So hopefully there is a
balance
sweet
as
spot
well.
between them.
There's like that's a really good way of illustrating it. I think you hit the nail on the head talking about how you want to keep the way it's received and the way you make it as separate as possible, in terms of you can't control how it's going to be received. There are ways that people smell and interact with some of the work that I have that I cannot. It's their thing, it's their world, and I'm the provider of that. And that's a great honor, and I'm so pleased to hear any kind of meaningful. I think we're in the meaning business. We're making meaning, and I think it's an honor and a privilege and a very profound responsibility as well. I think now. And I think you've done this really well in your work as well, kind of looking under the hood of pop music, and banging on the pipes of it, in your own way. I think it's really good, because you seduce people into, we're trying to seduce people into charm people into leaning into these things, and to finding that balance, to making them want to do the work, or really maybe a better way of putting it is making patience sexy again, making waiting lustful again, which is something that TikTok, and I'm not putting it on TikTok's head, the culture as a whole is struggling with in a big way. And I think sitting with something that you maybe don't necessarily like at the start, and just giving it the benefit of the doubt that maybe there's some more meaning in it than you originally thought, is enough to change so much in the world and in the way people see art. I mean, it could make it so that the way the public sees art is unimaginably unrecognizable from where it is now. And patience is a big part of why I think I do what I do. It's an unsexy thing, but again, as I said, I'm trying to. These things take time. Perfume doesn't have a stop or a pause button. If you're smelling a thing, you either get all of it or you get none of it, and it takes no prisoners. It's all there, and it's never the same twice. The temperature in the room you're smelling it, what you've eaten recently, how humid it is. These things are showing you that the most mundane, everyday moments are like divine. They're these shimmering things that we see in a certain way every day, and we become kind of blind to, but that are actually, and through scent does this, they're actually like miraculous. They're these shining moments that are mundane in many ways, but that are that if you look closer and you sit with, have they change with every angle you look at it from. They don't have they almost don't have a center. You can look at them from any direction, and they have
a new meaning. It's like it's a lot like seeing the infinite in the finite kind of thing, which is important. And I think in doing that, you're taking everyday things, potentially stupid little things. I work with some very ubiquitous, very cheap essential oils, fragrances, like everyday eucalyptus. And eucalyptus is a good example of it because it's so ubiquitous in our culture that that you're taking and kind of bringing in the alchemist part of it. You're taking and you're transforming this everyday substance into a world of something greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And I think, I think that's kind of the guts of what makes people feel things with some of this work.
Which is so. Like I guess to a certain extent, you need to have the patience to spend the time, even with the perfume. You have to stop and be present for art, which is.
It's really hard.
It's hard but like fantastic. It's so rewarding and some art will force you to do that, which maybe is why something like the Hunger Games is so. So wonderful to me. Is it actually? I guess it doesn't require you to even do the work. It'll just grab you. Like all you have to do is sit down.
That's amazing.
Maybe Anyway, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, I was just thinking about like how Joe Rogan or just podcasts in general, but Joe, I think it was one of the first ones being incredibly popular, with like 3-hour material. I guess no one was really ready to. People were surprised. I was surprised. I am still really surprised that people would listen to 3 hours of content. Just a couple of people talking,
and not just a few people.
Many
people.
Giant numbers.
I mean, this may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he gets like 1 billion downloads a year.
Yeah, right.
He's the most powerful interviewer ever.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think people like to sort of, this is kind of maybe a side note. People like to kind of go, oh yeah, the younger generations and their short attention spans and blah blah, no one can sit in a room with each other sort of thing. Some of that stuff becomes kind of almost this is a weird way of using it, almost clickbaity a little bit, because you have things like Joe Rogan where the younger under 40s for sure, because the short attention span thing is not just us, it's my brothers and older generations. What was I saying? Yeah, it undercuts some stuff like that where we have younger people thirsting for 3 hours, even more of just content, because they hunger for that kind of thing. I think it's almost like some of the work that we do and I do is about kind of reminding people that they hunger for that kind of thing, that they that the parts of them that need to sit in silence, that need quiet, are there, and then they need feeding. And that hopefully we can do that in some way in our work. I think going kind of off topic, saying stuff like the younger generations and their short attention spans is a little also like saying the media just throws all this stuff at us, and how are we supposed to care, and all this kind of blaming everything on the mass media, which is a very easy out to me. And I think I think the media is a big blind beast that we have made.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a reflection of our we feed it.
I don't know. I can't tell if this is a cynical or optimistic thought, or but maybe both.
I'll turn it into an optimistic one if it's not. Don't worry.
It could just be that since the dawn of Homo sapiens, there have been maybe most people, or maybe not, but a huge portion of people who are just kind of like not keen on thinking very much, and that could like a lot of that could even be like trait-based, like biological
like autopilot.
stuff. And so they're just people who are going to do a lot of TikToking and not heaps of like Dostoevskying or whatever. And then there's also hopefully always going to be a big chunk of people who want to think for themselves, and maybe those people are responsible for different bits of society, and and who consume who will make time for long form, or like for patience, for the patience requirements of hard art.
Yeah, and I guess I think and I think it's they all have a place, and I think it's sort of a great joy to have people who maybe aren't into that kind of, I don't know, longer form, harder work, harder art or whatever, to get any shimmering bit of joy or value from the harder things, even if it's a small thing. I think that's a really valuable thing. Like weird example. One of Tupac's, the rapper's favorite pieces of music ever was something by Stravinsky, for example. Really? And I'm sure he didn't understand he wasn't a trained musician. I don't think. Sure, he didn't understand the interworkings of parts of it, but he gleaned something from it, and I think that's important. And it's like, some of the weirder sense and works that I've made, maybe even Black and Deep Red, because when I made it, I was
gonna try to bring that up, because that was such an example of like you can't really control how things are perceived, or like that was like a deep dive and felt pretty experimental when you made it. And then it turned out to be, I think you're still your best
from 2018, 2019. My best
people
selling.
loved that.
People
meet people wearing it.
Oh, good. That's right. No, I think what was I even saying about that?
Sorry.
I think I think when I made Black and Deep Red, I was just like, this is this filthy little thing that I've made. It's a naughty little secret. It was a funny little time, and
that was one of the Rothko.
The first Rothko, the first Rothko perfume. I think people who have never heard of Rothko, who aren't really even that interested in the way scent and painting works together, aren't into like the multidisciplinary thing, they can still glean a whole lot from a perfume like that because of the way I think it speaks to the average person's intuition. People know these. People have a sort of inbuilt kind of clicker, a little measuring device inside them that can sense quality. It can sense when something is of value, even if they have no way of interpreting it that makes like verbal sense, which is why I have very, very different kinds of people liking the kinds of things I do, from young like 17-year-olds all the way up to people in their late 70s. And it's that element of they might not get parts of why I've made it, but they get the emotional core in some significant way to be able to stand in front of me and be like, this is good. I like what you've done here, which is a strange and lovely thing, but it's very ephemeral. It's very it's like the golden finch. It's you can't wrap your hands around that. As soon as you do, it's gone, or maybe it even dies. And what you said before, like about the problems of making things for everyone and that kind of thing. You really, it's like one of the key kind of paradoxes, I guess, of art or of creative things that involve creative value. That as soon as you try to do that, by trying to make something for everyone, you make something for no one, because no one is. An example that's used a lot in perfume. Here's a woman in her mid-40s. She eats out this number of times a week. She drives this kind of car. She pays this amount of rent every range of rent every year. This is what she's sort of roughly into. That's not a person. That's a collection of loose ideas, loose marketing slogans. And when you try to aim at things like that, you make things that are innately going to waste away, I think. I'm very interested in what timelessness might mean in art. Obviously, everything eventually fades away, but I think I like the idea of you're alive as long as the last person who remembers you, kind of thing. And I think that it's from Coco, the Pixar, DreamWorks, Pixar, DreamWorks. Who knows? Don't sue us, Pixar. Or do. That would be interesting. Got a little battery problems. Doing our
keep talking.
Tech support. We like to do our tech support. Where this is real life podcasting, people. There's no funny business. This is all for
the real deal.
All for the kids.
Yes.
Children, if you're watching this,
stop.
It's too late.
Do your homework.
It's too late. That's right. Go to bed. Kids, if you're watching, go to bed.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what time.
If you're in bed,
it's 6:20 also. So
6:20.
We have been doing about an hour. Yeah. I'd love to
so interesting.
Sum up in any way. We were still in the middle of
I
something.
do not know what I was saying though. Comment below what I was saying. Go back and
This isn't live.
Isn't it? I'm leaving. This is not.
Not
Oh
professional.
my
I'm so
god!
sorry I didn't tell you it's
No,
not
I'm
live.
just kidding. Where's the live audience? A cue applause.
I mean, there are still many ladies dressed as.
That's right. We're gonna have
they get see
to
it.
figure out a way to pay them. I'm not sure if.
I mean, we've got endless money. It's fine.
Yeah,
Don't
we
worry.
could pay them in golf tees. Maybe we could dip into the Boroky podcast fund. Anyway, in closing, what's the old thing that people used to say? You read the conclusion for your essay first. I don't think that's right.
Probably for some people, but
Yeah.
depends on how you. Yeah, I don't know.
I would say a thought that I do really like, I think this is a Russian author, a playwright who said this, is the idea that, and I said this in another talk that I will eventually upload to YouTube, my talk at Smith's Alternative, the idea that if there's a rifle on the wall in the first act, and it isn't shot, it hasn't been used by the second or third act, then the rifle shouldn't be there at all. And I think there is an interesting kind of a economy meaning like your kind of economy in a poem, the pace or the ability for the words to gel
use
well.
what you need and not more.
To being wary of the faults of complexity is a problem. I think a lot of people, when they come to me to make a bespoke custom perfume, they all say link below. They all say first thing first, I want something really complex. And it's so interesting because usually the simple things in perfume, and I'm sure it's similar with some of the stuff you work on, some of those simple things, they have an effect of complexity in a way that is so much more important than if you were to make something that was this giant jumbled monster of complexity and little changing staircases of aesthetics and all this kind of stuff. And that stuff has its place. I've made a lot of stuff like that, and it's so interesting. But it's mostly just interesting for you. Like it's quite I think it's a one-sided.
Sometimes it'll go backwards and it'll sound really simple.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Really complex things do tend to be really simple. So that's an interesting thought as well. I guess I don't have support your local artists and makers if you
Wherever
can.
you are.
Wherever you are, go to that local design market or go to the markets or look online for
Concerts.
Make sure you, as COVID lightens its claws, the venues will slowly open up again, and it's great to go out and support your local Boroky.
Yeah,
and,
if you have a local Boroky, definitely support that.
That's right. All those Boroky clones, we know you're out there.
We made you.
We made you. Didn't work out. I guess I'd just say support your local as best you can. Dig deep.
Love
Government assistance. Financial assistance ends next year for artists. So hope you're ready for that e-begging. Amanda Palmer, if you're watching,
teach us.
Here's my mobile number right here. Toby will
I'm not
will
editing
edit
this
it
video
in.
at all.
Okay.
So, that's just you with your fingers.
So you're sure this isn't live? Okay. If it's live, comment below.
If you saw the phone number, comment below.
Yeah, if you saw the phone number, see a doctor.
See a doctor, yeah.
Jesus, you're not supposed to see numbers in the air. God damn. I guess that's all. Do you have any closing remarks?
No, I think this has been.
We're actually,
great. Thank you so much.
Although it's right, but it's still light outside. We're actually about to go to bed. So here's a firm handshake before bed, and
you can buy a T-shirt with firm handshake before bed.
That was a nice little plug that I just did.
Thank
Actually,
you.
that was nice.
That's coming in the next. Yeah.
Yes, Boroky shirts. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Boroky shirts.
I'm going to buy 10,000 units, which is going to be about 100,000 shirts. So
as long as you pay
Commonwealth
before I
Bank,
make 'em.
if you're watching, approve my loan. There's lots of shout outs to strange
To parties that may not be very interested.
Yeah. All of Jerusalem, if you're watching, love your work. Great temples.
Yeah.
And sorry about all the mess that I left. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much, Clancy Baxter.
Thank you so much for having me on here. Don't use my full name.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no. We were going to edit in the slap sound from old Western movies.
And serious gore.
Yeah,
as well.
that's right. Toby's face will explode in 10. No. If you're watching, run away from your computers right now. This podcast is going to explode in 5 seconds. Run! That's so stupid. If the main actors in Spy Kids are watching, you're probably like 50 now? Jesus.
That can't be right.
They're probably like 1,000 by now.
Oh, yeah, actually. Yeah, 1,000 was more
they're
accurate.
like Jesus' age.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm going to use your whole name, Toby Carl Graham. Is that your whole name?
With Boroky. Toby Carl Boroky.
Yeah, that's right. I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed watching the first two that were out, and I'm looking forward to seeing the third that comes out. And yes, I'm very excited to have been on here.
Yay!
So, thank you very much. One more handshake.
One more firm handshake.
And I'll do one of those ones.
That's
Ooh,
fun.
yeah,
The fun
that's
kind of handshake.
all right. Hands
octopi.
are very sweaty.
They'd be clammy. Yeah,
Jesus
look, it's
Christ.
warm, and I
All right. Wow.
It's a stressful experience.
It's a strange.
Wait. I'm going to turn the everything off.
No.
Bye, Clancy. Thanks
Goodbye.
for being on the
Thank
Boroky
you.
podcast.
Hit that subscribe button.
Like and subscribe,
Yes, follow
indeed.
Sonic Alchemy on all platforms.
Yes, there'll be lots of links below.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Okay.
them.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.